Hello guys, and welcome to the Gilbert and Singh podcast with me, George Gilbert, and my co-star in this is...
Mr. Singh.
Mr. Singh.
How you doing, George?
I'm very good. How are you?
You're not bad.
Fantastic. Episode 2, was it Slick Sales with Mark Sclaire?
Well done. Well done. That's a good job, yeah.
So episode 2, we've got another guest, so we're really happy to have you here, Mark. Just to kick off, if you could just give us a quick introduction, a bit about yourself, what you do, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for having me, guys. Let's start from the very beginning. It's why I'm here today. I've been in the sales industry the last 15 years. The last 12 years I've lived in Dubai. But originally, I always wanted to be a lawyer. But the problem is you need good grades for that to happen. Yeah.
And they weren't so good.
They weren't so good, but I persevered. I attempted college 3 times. Yeah, but during the third experience, my friend approached me and he asked me if I wanted a part-time job at a real estate company in the UK. And it was only like stuffing envelopes, doing just temp work, which I could balance with college. But as time went on, they offered me a sales role. And I was kind of stuck with a predicament, really, because one part of me still wanted to be this lawyer, but the other part didn't want anything to do with sales. I didn't believe in it. I didn't trust it. It wasn't something I saw as a profession. I wanted to be this lawyer. But once I got involved in sales, I realized that being a lawyer and being in sales, it's actually both service industry. So I like to help people, I like to guide people, assist people, and that's what sales is. You're holding someone's hand through the whole way. You're giving value to them. You're finding out the benefits, what they need, and you're helping them with that.
Do you think the sales, as you grew up, do you think sales was something that you had an inner talent already that existed? I mean, you seem very personable, very outgoing individual. I would say they're probably two, good traits of a potential salesperson. Yeah. I mean, would I be right in saying that?
I'd say one of my best skills or best things about me is that I want to care to make sure that people get what they want, what they need. And with that, I help with my sales skills to get those things over the line, because not everyone knows what they actually want, or not everyone knows actually what there actually is. So that's what gives me passion to get out and show the product and show them what they're missing. But yeah, it's that care to add value to people.
Yes, but so now which is great. I agree with you, right? Yeah. You have to show, like, you're not just there for the sale, you're there for the person as well. Yeah. Right? But this is something can you learn this? Can I grow up thinking, you know what, I can actually incorporate this in my personality, as you may, where you go, what if I'm an introvert, for example? How does that work then? Where I don't want to talk to people, I care, but I don't know how to talk to you. How does that work then?
An introvert's even better, because you know what they love to do?
You can't.
They love to listen. And what are the best salespeople? People that are good at listening.
It's a very good point.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. I actually didn't see that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm going to write these things down.
I'm not the most outgoing person, to be fair. If I'm at an event and I see a crowd of people, one thing I used to struggle with was, like, what am I going to give as value to those people? That's my inner problem that I had. So I was probably a bit introverted as well, but then I'd approach them, start speaking to them, and then because of my passion for what I was doing, it came across with it's a transference of belief.
Is that like a networking event? Is that
like a networking event? Yeah.
The problem I have with networking events, and they're great, and I'm in sales, and I find them very challenging, because even I get the anxiety when you're going, because you think to yourself, I want to maximize the potential of the room I'm about to walk into. But you're so nervous about approaching, and some of these networking groups actually could be something that are on a monthly basis, and you find there's a lot of clicks, which is really hard. And sometimes, even with friendship groups, it's actually very hard to sort of, go and get involved, because you don't know whether they're going to involve you in that conversation. So I'd agree with you. I find that challenging for sure.
But just going back to your point about if the skills, you can learn them.
Yeah.
Within my story, like, when I realized I wanted to get into sales, I didn't just want to be a salesperson, I wanted to be a sales professional. And what that means is I develop my skills every single day to get better and better and better. So did I have this raw talent? Definitely, that's what I was recognized for. But I 100% had to keep on building on it.
I think that's the funny part, because we were talking about this earlier, where we were like, okay, you still have to practice, right? Irrespective of what your situation is, you still have to practice every day. Talk to yourself in the mirror, or whatever it is. That's how you grow. Right? So I think that's an interesting. in the start of the story, you mentioned sales had a rep, right? You said you didn't want to go in there because that wasn't what you wanted to do. So this is where, you know, sales has a bad rep. And why do you think that is? It's the backbone of your business, of any business. So why do you think sales has such a bad rep in terms, I don't want to do this, it's not for me?
Mr. Singh.
Mr. Singh has...
Oh, Mr. Singh, that's 1,000 dirham fine on the podcast.
Gee, I thought I put it on something as well. It doesn't go off. Sorry, I'm sure gonna.
We even said it at the start.
Yeah.
I apologise for that one. All right. So just why do you think sales got such a bad rep? Where you didn't want to do this in the start because you thought this is not for me, right? And sales is the backbone of any business.
But I also think a reputation from a perspective, you know, that there has been hard-hitting cold sales calls in the past. Yeah. And I think people have got a negative connotation with that. I think that's kind of where...
Yeah, it's a cutthroat world. So, you know, you don't want to join this. Exactly what you said. I don't want to go in sales because I don't have security in my job. For example, that's where it comes down to. Why do you think... How do you overcome this?
But just going back to your security in a job... Yeah. Within the whole division, within any company, the sales division is the only one, if a company invests in it, it starts generating money. Nothing else. So I know what you're saying, like you want job security, but if there's any trouble, the way you're going to make money is by selling. Like getting out there, getting on the phone, doing stuff. Otherwise you're wondering like if your job's safe, if you're in finance, if you're in marketing, they can just easily get rid of you like that.
Yeah, but double-edged sword, isn't it? I mean, if you're the one doing all of the calls, but at the same time, you're the easiest one to let go, because I can.
And you're the easiest one to blame as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I find in a lot of companies.
Exactly. That's what it is. It's easiest person to blame, and I think that's one of the biggest problems why we've got such a bad rep with sales. It's just you mentioned this as well.
Yeah. I think with sales, it all comes from the top. So. The problem is, I think every salesperson has the best intention, but they also have a target to hit. And if management are saying, where's the deals, they don't care where this deal comes from. They don't care who they have to call 1,000 times, they don't care who they have to chase down. They have to get this deal over the line. And unfortunately, it's very conflicting. So salespeople, the leader tells them what to do, and then they just kind of turn a blind eye when these deals are coming in without really understanding how the deal came in the first place.
Yeah, so they're essentially not asking enough questions to try and support, I guess, that individual. Yeah, I think that happens a lot in companies.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's happened with me. Well, like I mentioned, I started my business 4 years ago. Yeah. So initially, I was the one who did the sales. Okay. You know, so the only person I could actually blame was myself. So the amount of deals I've lost because I've not done the job properly. But now you're mentioning it. What I was lacking was the emotional intelligence to understand what was I offering that the client needed that was not offered by George. And I think that's one of the key things that you mentioned as well, the emotional intelligence part. Right? That's where the conflict comes in. Do I push? Do I step back? Where's the boundary? Do I call again? Call half an hour? Call again? No, do I wait? How does it work? Like, where's the boundary?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. So like a guy keeps on calling me about my car insurance, and I've inquired last week, but I inquired and I said I would get back to you, and he's been calling me, and I actually need to do it, but I've been so busy, I've not been able to do this, and it sounds really bad. I've been saying, let me call you tomorrow. He's not being like, I should get it done. So, and he knows I need to get it done because I either want to sell my car or I want to continue with my car. So he's calling me. Is he doing it in the right way? I think he is. But the other thing is as well, if you have a product that you believe is of value to the client, then you should keep calling them. Because I haven't had time to look at this document, if he keeps calling me, in some way I'm going to be remembering to do it, and I will do it. So there is a balance, but you get that by asking questions as well. So when's the right time to call back? Yeah, what are the decisions within the business? Who signs this off on it? There's no point sitting in a meeting and then they finish the meeting and there's no call to action. You know, there's no follow-up. It could take 2 months process, but someone's calling me every single day. They've not asked me questions on who signs it, when's the right time to finish, nothing like that. And this comes with asking questions.
Yes, is finding out from that person when
can you
is
stop?
suitable to call them. You know, if Mark turned around and said, look, I need to renew this in a week's time, I think, you know, if you give me a call on Thursday afternoon, that usually is when, you know, my diary's a lot more free. You know, it's asking those questions and, you know, but people just bombard and it just gets too much. And I think that's where the bad reputation
I think that's where I lost my deals as well, because so you get excited about the fact that you might close someone and it looks like it's a done deal. So what happens is you don't realize the person's got work, he's got a family, they've got stuff to do as well. Yeah. So what happens is when you call them at a time when they're not expecting this call, and you're like, hey, what's happening? We spoke about this. Are we going to do this or no? Yeah. I think that's when it just goes click. I don't want to do this. You're right. You need to find that balance where you can go, hey, I'm your friend. Cool. You've got problems. I understand. Give me a time where I can give you a call and say, let's have a conversation then.
But you know what the thing is as well? People are too scared to ask if this deal is actually going to happen or not as well.
That's
so they
true.
call up and they'd be like, oh, are you okay to speak now? And he's like, no, call me next week. And they hang up and they call next week. Can we speak next week? Speak next week. If you ask the question, like, what is stopping us from moving forward here? Like, is there anything that's actually getting in the way of this? They might come out and say, actually, we don't want to move ahead. But then at least. Yeah. And everyone, they're so, let me get my numbers on CRM up, update my daily calls. And they're doing so much activity but not getting anything from it.
One of the things I say is, be honest with me. Yeah. Is this something, are we likely to do business on this? Yeah. Because you don't want to waste your time. Time is precious and you're better off wasting that time on someone else. But, Mark's quite right, is you can spend a lot of time chasing down a lead that it's never going to turn into a sale.
This is good for me, by the way. Yeah.
It's great for me. It's because it's food for thought. Even though I've been in sales, as long as Mark, but the stuff that Mark even says, I'm like, it's so obvious, but you don't actually think about it.
Well, that's the key point. It's good for me, by the way. I'm going to keep writing notes down because I'm surrounded by really good
talent.
Sales people. Yeah. Wow. Good sales talent here.
We complicate it so much when we just should keep it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like relationships. Yeah. Well, one of the other points I want
altogether.
One of the other points I wanted to raise around that is I notice this happens worldwide. Shops, stores that have people on the floor can be, I think, detrimental to a business. You could walk into a store and there's one in mind in the UK that I don't step foot in whenever I walk past it because of a stigma that I have. Whenever you walk in there, they're on you like a ton of bricks. And for me, that just puts me right off. If I wanted to go into any store, a clothes store or whatever, I want to kind of do it at my own pace and I don't want to feel under pressure or I don't want to feel like the guy's actually trying to put me in a new outfit to walk out of that door. I can only assume that's what they're being taught or they're either under that much pressure to deliver on sales that they feel that that's what they have to do. I mean, are you doing any sort of courses with anyone at the moment where you're trying to move them away from that, or is that encouraged? What's the general feel?
You've got to test the water really with it, because the problem is it can be completely the other way. And I've been into a store and there's been no one around and I've walked out because if no one's going to help me, I'm not even going to bother. So there is, again, it comes from the pressure from management. But the problem is, like these people with the properties at the stands at the moment in the malls, they're coming up and trying to give you these flyers and you're saying, no, thank you. And that's it. They're accepting that. Like no follow-on question and nothing like that. So there's two extremes. One is the guy's pressuring too much to you. And the other one is they're just giving up too quickly. Mm-hmm. And I say to him, is that it? Is that all I'm going to get? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, I was hoping you were going to try and get me in and do stuff, but you're not doing it. And
so how do you know then? This is the question here.
Yeah.
How do you know if I should go show you more or show you less or talk more, talk less? How do you? I've got 30 seconds. It's a pitch lift. I've met you in the lift, right? I'm pitching you there. How do I talk to you there? I can't convince you in 30 seconds. That's just, at least for me, in my personal view, I don't think it can be done unless your idea is just incredibly unique. But how do you know this? How do you do this? Where you go,
But an elevator pitch itself, there's three things. One is that who are you helping? Okay. The second is what problems that person face? And the third is what solution have you got for them? That's how you get it, and that's how you hook them in. They've got a problem, you're going to solve it. I've said this before, it's like, what's in it for them? You job interview, you do your sales pitch, you do your elevator pitch. All they care about is, what are you going to do for me? And that's how you hook them in.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
brilliant.
I also think from experience, you get a feeling.
Yeah.
I think, even in 30 seconds, if that person is interested, maybe he's going to say, oh, how do we reconnect from this?
Yeah. I think, again, I'm just going on my personal experiences because I've had issues like this before where I've had 30 seconds or 40 seconds or a minute tops for the guy. And the guy said, listen, I'm busy. You got to show me what you're going to do here. I think this is where the practice thing comes in as well, because
you end up feeling the pressure as well.
You panic.
And you're like rushing, because you're like, oh, you've got 30 seconds, sell to me. Unless you're ready for it. But again, the calmest person has 30 seconds, but then ask a question. Rather than talking, just ask a question and let them answer it. And you want people to fall into their answer as well. So they walk into it, they're like, wow, that's true actually.
So how do you think I can help you make this a success? That would be a question, for example.
Yeah, you kind of hook them in with something. So it's like a statement, or like you've met this person or not, or it's just a random person.
No, so let's assume you've spoken to this person on the phone, and that's pretty much it. And this is the first meeting that you've got.
Yeah.
He's got a last minute meeting, he's leaving, come with me.
Yeah.
It's happened to me before. He's like, come with me, I'm going now, talk to me now. And you're like, oh, right now, I've got pitch, I've got laptop, all of this. No, come with me now.
Yeah. No, the main thing is you should have found out what their sore points are. And once you know what their sore points are, then you hit them with it. And then they're like, oh my God, I need that. What, you're going to be able to do that for us? The company's losing $500,000 a week in revenue, whatever. You've got a product that's going to increase their sales orders. That's what you say straight away.
Because I have a feeling, Josh, you walk in there with your portfolio and then you start.
Because that's what you assume.
through.
See, that's the thing. Obviously, it's changed a lot more because now what I've done is I've done a lot of online courses as well to actually understand how to talk to the person. I'm going from experience. So there's so many startup companies coming up in Dubai right now, in the Middle East, right? And majority of them are normal people. They have no sales experience from before, right? So these are questions they would want to get answered as well. If, for example, I had this information available when I started, would have been brilliant. But I had to learn this the hard way. I got rejected. I'm like, you know what? There are courses. Let me do courses online. So yeah, but I've gone in with full-on preparation. I had a pitch deck. I had my laptop ready. I had a presentation deck. I got 30 seconds and I just flopped. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
No, this whole thing is so when you say about shops and floor people and stuff like that, yes, I can train people with that, but the main thing is consultative selling. So when you sit down with a business, a person within a business, you ask them questions. And again, it's about listening. So when you say an introvert can ask a question and listen, and that's it. And people just want to talk. So if you're sat there and you're going to pitch to them and they're not even going to be able to speak for the next 30 minutes, they're going to switch off.
Is there a general rule of thumb? I mean, is there a percentage in terms of, from the salesperson talking to the actual customer talking? Is there a 70-30 or?
I'd say it's 80-20.
So 80 on the side of
80% listening. Yeah. 20% talking.
Yeah. I actually heard a quote the other day. You've got 2 ears for a reason and 1 mouth.
Exactly.
And so I think that was the one that just has stuck with me for my sales pitch. Now I just go, so Mark, tell me more about how you wanted to be a lawyer, for example, and why'd you stop? Just so that I could connect with you on a personal level.
Exactly.
And then that's what I've done so far. Again, still not so successful, but
one of the areas I failed in the sales. I mean, we're talking many years ago when I was back in the UK. I'd have this portfolio of products, and I would walk into an architect and go, right, I've got this, and I'd tell them a bit about everything, and you could just see the eyes roll into the back of the head. And I was very fortunate. I had a good manager at the time, and he was very switched on. And he said, ask a very different question. I'm here, this is what we do, acoustics, membranes, etc., etc. Is there any product in particular that you want to look further into around the project that you're working on? And then you'd be amazed how much they'd open up to you. Or the other one I often do when I go into a meeting, if it's a new company, is tell us a little bit more about your company and what you do, just so I can understand a little bit more. And the idea in your head is you want to then tailor that meeting around his response to that question. So
yeah. So look, the worst thing that people do is Like, because I write 5 or 6 questions down and I have that as a structure in a meeting. But what I'm really doing is I'm asking you a question and I'm listening rather than thinking what the next question is. So it's the same in these podcasts now. We have a structure with it, but then we listen to what each other are saying and we go from there. And that's how these meetings go. And I've had it in an interview before. Someone's asked me a question, I've given them an absolute gem, and he's asked me like the same, like in response to my question from the last one. And it's just like, you haven't even listened to me.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? So how do you? So this is the thing, right? How do you? That's the instinctive thing as well, where you just go click. It's going to happen this way. But you said you weren't interested in sales, right? You had that little exuberant behavior, but where it comes out, you want to listen to people. It's really good, and then. See, this is my thing. It's how do you improve on this, right? Do you just give up and be like, no, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to hire 5 people to do this work for me because that's easier. That's what I did. I failed.
Okay.
Again, I'm going on my personal experiences and I'm talking to you about this, right? It's
But then, so you brought on 5 people.
Yeah.
But who trained them? Who developed them? Who?
Well, so it's from the sales company that does it. So they give you, so you give them what you want to look for.
Okay.
And they give you the people that you think, that they think would be the best.
So like a subcontract.
Yeah, like a subcontract.
But then who keeps them going?
So it was a small contract. It was just for the contract for a year.
Okay.
Year's worth of project, and that's it. And then we didn't go back to them anyway.
No, but that year.
Yeah.
So if I had a sales team for that 1 year, we're having daily stand-ups, we're having weekly meetings, we're having, updates. Like, was there that sort of thing going, like development?
No, so that's the thing. So this is where, I said that's a really good point. I didn't. Obviously, I was young, didn't have any experience before. So I've learned that recently, which is what you mentioned now. It's just, this is the thing. People don't have access. People don't want to learn sometimes, which is why they want to do at this point. I'm like, it's too hard. I can't do this.
Yeah. But you can go onto a training course and you can watch these YouTube videos and you can learn so much. But if you're not actioning it and if you're not practicing it, if you're not getting out there and doing it and learning on the job, then you're not going to get any better at it.
What are your best 3 practice methods? How do you get your better at sales? How do you continue getting better at sales?
Just keep practicing, I think, isn't it?
It's not, yeah. So what I learned was, like, one of my good parts about me is that I'm a good listener. And then what I found was I find I can calm people within the way I speak and the way just some kind of listening with my eyes, really. That's how it comes across. Like,
good eyes.
Yeah.
Good eyes.
But that was the feedback that I got. So then I knew that that's something that I was good at. I'd still work on it though. But then after that, you've then got skills which you just need to keep on practicing and practicing and practicing. But it just comes with confidence as well. Like, once you've got that confidence and you're willing to ask for the order and willing to turn deals down as well. This is the thing. You were calling people again and again and again and not killing off the deal because you were worried where the next deal was going to come from. And there was a guy I used to work with, and he would literally just say, okay, that's fine, because he knew he was going to get another deal. He didn't care. If there was 2 people doing the same deal, like 2 colleagues, he'd be like, you take it. He'd be like, I know I'm going to get another one, because he backed himself that much.
What I find from my perspective is that I think people can smell it. They can sense that desperation. If you're desperate for a sale, say you're coming towards the end of the month, you haven't really closed any business, or you're certainly nowhere near your target. It really does come across. You might not think that. You think, I'm still sort of cruising this. I'm doing okay. But they just know you want that deal so badly that, you would drop anything for them in order to secure that deal. And that I think for a salesperson is toxic in itself, and it's terrible.
Yeah, you lose the value of yourself. You lose the value of the company, the value of the product.
Right. So that's the thing. It's interesting. You've literally just transitioned into my next topic anyway, where you said, thick skin.
Yeah.
You must need a bit of thick skin to do work in sales, because you're going to hear a lot of no's before. And so this is where the confidence thing comes in. How do you keep your confidence up when you're going to hear so many no's? After the 10th, 11th, 50th, 100th, whatever it is, you're going to go, maybe I'm not good enough. Right? Even if you believe, like you said, I believe 100% in my skills, but
you're going to have a bad day. But the thing is as well, you can't take it personal. They're not, even though I believe that people buy because of the salesperson, it's kind of conflicting here, but you can't take it personal when they say no. If you can do that, then you can move on to the next one.
Don't take it with you.
take it with you.
Don't take it. But also as well, so if you know your numbers and you know that every 20 meetings that you do, you get one deal. So someone said no in the 15th meeting, so you know in the next 5 meetings you're going to get a deal. All you're doing is getting closer to a yes. Each no is getting you closer to a yes.
It's interesting. It's a mindset. It's just, you need to have a switch. It's a mindset.
Definitely, yeah. And I wake up every morning. I have a positive board. I have a vision thing. I have a gratitude thing, which I read every single day. And I'm bringing that energy into me. And things come from that. I 100% believe in that.
So every morning you get up, write something you're happy for, what you need to work on.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's one of the greatest tips we could give any of our listeners, is to do this in the morning.
And I don't think, well, I certainly don't do it, and I don't think enough people do
that.
it.
Yeah, and it's amazing because you've created it, so I have to change it like I don't write it down every day. I have this thing which I've got written down, which I read. But when I'm reading it, I'm starting to realize, wow, that's coming into my life. So then 6 weeks later, I've got to change it again because I've bought it in there. Now I need to get something that's not with me. I need to bring it back I need to attract it. Yeah,
that's brilliant actually.
But I have 3 things on my wall when I wake up in the morning, and it's kind of like my mantra. And it's, I can be all I want to be. The only person that will stop me is me. There's no excuses.
It's a cliche, but it works.
It's true.
It sounds as cheesy as you want, but
it works.
You've got to tell it to yourself.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
The next question I had actually is where is sales heading now, because of obviously the pandemic has changed things, people working from home. I would normally be in face-to-face meetings, traveling the Gulf, but now everything, well, a lot of the time certainly now has to be video conference.
Yeah.
How do you think that's going to impact on building relationships with people?
Yeah, I think the big thing now is tonality. And I know that's probably not what you were looking for there, but with these video calls and these phone calls, because you're not in front of someone, you can't sell with your enthusiasm. Yes, that comes across, but this whole tonality and how you deliver stuff, and that's what people need to be working on now.
I think that's going to be tough. But yeah, it's delivering that. Yeah, you're right. Delivering that sort of tone. I mean, I've been very fortunate that I have customers that I've dealt with the last 2 years, so I've built that relationship. But it always does make me think, if I was coming into a new industry, how would I go about doing it over a VC?
Yeah, so I mean, okay, those things is how you get on the call first of all. That's what's changing now. So these kind of building a client database. Yeah, you can't. We'll touch on this probably, but cold calling, it needs to be warm calling. You need to have built within your community, and what I mean by that is that I go onto LinkedIn every single day, and within my community, I try to add value to it. So when I'm getting on these calls with people, they realise actually this person is trying to do something for us rather than just trying to take. I'm trying to give as much as possible. And that's why I do these videos each day. That's why anyone that wants to call me up for any advice, I'm happy to help, because I'm creating it, and it will come back to me. But yeah, the video calling is very, very tough now. I think so. How do you hold it? It's quite funny because
background.
What do you have in the background? Yeah.
Well, you can blur it now, and you can put yourself on the beach.
But what are you wearing as well? That's a big thing as well. Me personally, I haven't worn a turban for past 4 months because I haven't seen anyone for the past 4 months.
Yeah.
Right, so just shut down the camera and have a conversation with the person. Be like, the camera's not working.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. How do you? It's a big thing to get used to.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to continue for the next.
Yeah, but it just comes with practice though anyway. It does. I mean, in my old company a number of years ago, it was a project tracking database, and you couldn't always meet everyone. It was a website which you had to demonstrate to people. So I was used to doing online presentations anyway, like navigating around the website. Can you see this? No, we can't see it. The internet's gone down. So I've been quite used to this for quite a while. But the great thing is now the picture quality is just brilliant. So it's like you're in the room with them anyway now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. And then sort of coming back to the cold calling side, do cold calls work anymore? Are people moving away from that? I think, LinkedIn, for example, we can warm things up generally that way. And again, comes back to the, sales or marketing question. I mean, what's your thoughts on cold calling now? Yeah,
if you walk into a sales office and there's a load of people not doing any work, again, this is where the manager gets to whip out and be like, get on the phones. There's no problem with cold calling if you've actually done the research on the company and research about the person, and you've kind of found stuff about them. Like I used to get phone calls from people and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm calling. You're in Dubai, right?" I'm like, "No, I'm not actually. I'm in the UK now." Just to get them off the phone. Like, they're like, "Why are you asking me?" Like, yes, I'm in Dubai.
Well, first of all, they're dialing a number that's in Dubai.
This is it, exactly.
Well, I mean, you could have international calls as well. So
yeah, but you know what I mean. He's ringing a +971 number.
Yeah.
But cold calling, I've heard people say that it's completely dead now and you shouldn't be doing it anymore. But again, if you've got a product that you think can be of value to people, it's your obligation to get out there and tell people about it.
So that's the thing, to make it warm first.
Yeah.
Right, just send out something. So how do you do this? If I'm a startup company, right, I know you're my perfect client.
Yeah.
Right? You obviously don't know you need my product for now, but you're my perfect client. If you get this, everyone else will follow, right? So how do I just get in touch with you? I can't just be like, click, Mark, hi, can I speak? Is this Mark Sclaire that I'm speaking to? Yes. So we are doing this. How are you? How's family? Whatever. But then eventually, like, yeah, what do you want?
Yeah.
It happens. So how do you go lukewarm or warm? How do you do that then? That's a big question.
Yeah. Again, it's like you want it so when you're calling, they know who you are because you've done so much for that. Like, it's like you drive down Shakeside Road and there's 1,000 adverts of the same thing. Right. You get to the bottom of the road, it's in your head.
Yeah.
So they need to have seen you around, and that's in the community, that's on LinkedIn, that's on Instagram. So I would prefer to spend the money on doing stuff like that, developing
relationships,
content.
Yeah, content, exactly.
People are used to seeing it then.
So people are used to seeing it, yeah. There's some people that like the calls. Again, though, when somebody calls me and I just kind of give them a blank answer and like, okay, thanks a lot. I say again, like, is that it? I like to listen to these calls now that people call me with, because I'm like, is that all you've got?
Do you actually say that to them?
Yeah.
And what do they say to that?
I say, like, what? Come on, get me in. You know, like, what's going on here? Like, why are you just accepting that answer? You know, some of them.
That's really that's actually quite generous of you. I know some people would probably be quite sort of intimidated by that.
Yeah.
But yeah, because they might think that you're being, facetious by doing that. But actually, you're really helping them and trying to encourage them to push forward.
This is kind of my industry. It's me keeping my finger on the pulse, really, isn't it? So I'm listening to how people are doing. I know that the sales industry needs massive. So my mission is to get the sales industry back to the way it used to be, to have this gloss on it again. It's mission impossible, but I'm willing to work on it every single day.
Well, that's the main part. Just keep grinding every single day.
Yeah.
Get up, read your 3 mantras, right, and then get on it. Yeah, but that's amazing. I think that's been. I've learned so much in the first 30 minutes here. It's just been flashbacks of how I handled my previous situations. And I'm like, oh, I could have done this. That would have been so much better.
Yeah.
I've just been, but this. Yeah, it's just been.
It's been good. So, how are you looking to try and help people, Mark? Then, obviously, I know you've got your business. So, what are you looking to do? Public speaking, or get into companies and actually sit down and do sales training? Tell us a little bit about what your strategy is from a business perspective.
Yeah. So, the main aim is to be in front of people within businesses. That's the main aim. Unfortunately, that can't be done so much now. So, I'm developing this online platform where it's going to be training. But it won't be like the sort of training that you went on, where you just sit there and you just watch a video and then ask you some questions afterwards. Because the problem is you've been on your phone the whole time, you've not watched it properly, you've lost interest in it. Yeah. So with my site, what I'm developing is it's going to be so interactive. So when we're asking you questions along the way as the video's going on, and if we feel you've just kind of pressed a button for just for the sake of it, because you're on your WhatsApp messaging, we will prod you and make sure that you actually answer the question properly and you're watching it properly. And that is such a big thing for companies, because when someone would say to me, I'll do an online training course, I'd be like, no, why? I'm not going to watch it properly, I'm not going to do anything. So if we are telling these companies that we make sure that your employees are actually watching it, interacting with it and learning from it, they understand that we're actually in it to help them rather than just selling subscriptions. This whole thing is about adding value to people. That's what I want to do.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why we started doing this as well. It's,
from a podcast perspective.
It's to add value.
Yeah.
And that's why we're asking we're trying to add leading questions in terms that we can do that. And, I know you said you've certainly learned a lot from that. And, I have, certain points you've mentioned for sure. And hopefully that will add value to a lot of others. Obviously, when we spoke before, Mark, you sort of said, this is a great question at the end of the podcast, is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you would like to touch on?
I should have been ready for this, really. I just really, like, one of my big missions and passions is to add value to people. And I think people are just not doing it enough. So people say to me, so I do these 1 minute videos every single day to give value to people. And people are saying to me, well, why are they going to bother signing up to anything then if everything's for free, why would they bother signing up then? And they'd be like, well, I've actually learned from this person. That stuck with me, and I'll be willing to use him and recommend him for other services. And if you can stick to that and not get like with the shortcuts of making money within this, you can last within your business. And like I told you before, I'm not an out and outright salesperson. I don't sell snow to an Eskimo. I don't sell sand to a desert. Like that's not what I am. If you want to know how to build a career and how to make long lasting relationships with people, that's how I help. Because I don't just want you to make commission and get fired, like you're saying. I learned this about 15 years ago. I got fired from my job, and I was actually one of the biggest earners within the company. Oh, wow. Yeah, but I was a cost to these people because I was earning so much money. But what I didn't realize was I got laid off because I was brought in by someone else that wasn't the decision maker. So when it came to kind of, heads rolling, I didn't have that relationship with the guy that actually signs it all off. So I was just another number to him. Yeah. So I built this relationship with this amazing manager, and I love her for it. She gave me the foundation of who I am, but she didn't make the decision in the end. It was this other guy. But
that's the thing. So even if she vouches for you, he's going to say, "Yeah, I don't care."
Yeah. Because we're not emotionally in this together. He just sees me as another number.
So were you making a lot of money through commissions, or your salary was respectable?
No, the basic wasn't that much, to be fair.
Okay.
But the commission was a lot, and there was a lot to come as well.
Yeah, but so why fight you if you're making money?
Yeah,
that means you're getting sales in.
Some people don't like that. I think that's the problem. Some people that are higher up than you might be earning more money than them. And I think they have a psychological problem with that.
Yeah. Well, this was in 2007. This company knew what was about to happen in 2008.
Oh, the recession.
Yeah, and I was working for a big property developers in the UK. And then once the whole market dried up, there were just people they didn't need. And it would have, my basic was good. It wasn't life-changing, don't get me wrong. But I was like 22 at the time. So
which back then was actually not a bad salary.
No, I mean, that was my age. That was my age.
Sorry.
Yeah. But I was very lucky because I fell into a time where I worked my absolute arse off to get to this. But I received a check one day and I looked at it and I was like, that can't be for me. It can't be for me. And I sat with my manager and I said, I don't think I deserve this. And my mum goes mad at me for doing stuff like this. But my manager said, you do deserve it. You're a big part of this business. And with that, from 3 months of wages, I was able to buy a property in the UK, and I've still got that property today.
Very good.
But that came with like giving everything I have to that business, just not to that manager, unfortunately, that laid everyone off.
But that's good. I think that shows your honesty and integrity for sure.
Yeah.
And I think, why you're in the sales game that you're in now.
Yeah.
So what we'll do, I mean, if we've covered all the points, is, this will go up onto various platforms, and what we have sort of started saying to people, if anyone has any questions or any input or feedback, and would like to reach out to you, Mark, then I'm sure you'd be happy to engage with them.
Yeah.
Because I know you're on Instagram, you're doing the videos daily, which people can get a lot of information and a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Education from.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything you want to say?
No. I think we got the name perfect. Slick Sales.
Slick Sales, yeah.
Slick Sales. Because this wasn't just about sales, which I love. It was more about the whole aspect.
Yeah.
But it's been brilliant. I think I learned so much. I think I would do another session just to, just to have a chat again about.
Ask away. I'm happy to help.
No. I learned. I need to process all of the information that I've been got. But if I've learned, and I've done business over the past 6 years, my own company, so I can imagine people that are starting up, or even in proper companies right now. It's just great. Emotional intelligence. I think that's the word I'm going to go with.
Yeah, definitely. It's
EI.
Yeah. So there's 4 parts. There's one big part is self-awareness. So I really understand what's good and what's bad about me, and I know my strengths and weaknesses, and I know when I sit in a meeting how I'm going to come across to people. And that's a big part.
Yeah, but that's the thing. People don't have that usually, where they can go, I've done something wrong. Maybe I should change. It doesn't happen as much. I have a
good group of people around me, which I ask honest questions to. So I put a WhatsApp message out the other week, and I was like, what's good, what's bad about me? And one of the things that came back, which I didn't even realize, was how I made people feel. And it's all this transference of belief, and it's making people feel comfortable, and that's why they're going to buy from you. They trust you, they trust your company, and they trust the product.
So create value, right?
Yeah.
Ask questions.
Yes.
To make yourself better or worse, whatever it is. Ask questions and self-discipline. Three big takeouts from takeaways.
I'll ask you a question now, which no one really does. Okay. Both of you can answer this.
Okay.
When was the last time you listened to one of your sales phone calls?
It's funny. I actually before the pandemic hit, I did actually record one of my. I wasn't happy. I wasn't really happy about it. You see where my questions were coming off from?
Yeah.
Where personal experiences. I came off desperate. I came off. I really needed this, but I didn't. I didn't actually need this, but it just came off like this.
Yeah. But who told you to listen to the phone call?
Oh, so I've listened to James White.
Okay.
Yeah, he has this thing called online course, which he does an interactive course as well.
Okay.
But he's the one I listen. He's like, listen back to your core, because if you don't know if you're good or if you're bad, and you're just going to keep repeating the same mistakes again.
Yeah. But the problem is you don't recognise that either, though, and that's the problem. So what I would do is I'd sit with a colleague, and I'd go through it together, because there's things I'm not going to pick up on as well.
Mr. Mark, do you want to go through my my last phone call?
I can go through it if you want.
I don't have it now.
Yeah,
I would not
send
want
it
to
to
put
me.
it on podcast.
I think mine was 5 years ago, but I was in a boiler room situation though. This was heavy cold calling, pretty intense, 100, 200 calls a day, and we had the tech there to be able to your calls were recorded, so to listen to it. I sound pretty good, to be fair. No, but there's always room.
You've got a good voice, actually.
I keep saying this to them, because when we do this, I'm like, George, why do you sound so much better than I do? Right? And it's just
I don't know about that, but I'm just saying he's got a good voice.
He's got RJ
face
voice.
for radio.
Face for radio, yeah.
Or podcast.
But no, I've enjoyed today's session. So thank you very much.
I'm gonna take you up on the offer. I'm going to share.
Over,
yeah,
please.
I will.
Yep,
but thank you so much, Mark. It's been brilliant.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.